Did you know that around 70% of people believe they aren't creative? That's a shocking number. Even more surprising is that studies show everyone has the potential to be creative. In fact, research indicates that creativity can be cultivated and improved over time, just like a muscle. But what if I told you that creativity isn't just for artists or inventors? It plays a huge role in everyday problem solving. In this video, we're diving into the hidden creativity in problem solving you're missing. We'll uncover strategies that can transform how you approach challenges. You'll learn how your brain works, the surprising power of constraints, and why stepping back can lead to your best ideas. Get ready to discover techniques that can unlock your creative potential and turn everyday problems into opportunities for innovation. By the end, you'll see that creativity is not just a gift, it's a skill you can develop and use in your daily life. So, let's jump in and start unleashing the creativity you didn't even know you had. Chapter 1. Unlocking the problem solver brain. Most people think creativity belongs in the realm of artists or inventors, but the truth is, it plays a huge role in how we solve problems every day. In fact, problem solving and creativity share more common ground than you might think. According to a study from Stanford, the same brain regions light up when people are asked to generate creative ideas and when they try to find solutions to tricky problems. So, in a sense, the problem solver brain is also the creative brain. To unlock this part of your brain, you have to move away from linear thinking. Most of us are used to a step-by-step approach. But if you want to think creatively, you need to embrace more flexible ways of approaching problems. Think of the brain as having two modes: the focused mode, where you concentrate deeply, and the diffuse mode, which lets you daydream or make loose connections between ideas. Dr. Barbara Oakley, author of A Mind for Numbers, says it's during this diffuse mode that our most creative insights often happen. So, switching between these modes helps unlock the brain's problem-solving potential. It's also worth noting that creativity doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. Studies show that the brain gets better at generating ideas the more you practice creative thinking. One study published in Psychological Science found that individuals who engaged in daily creative activities were better at problem solving over time. The takeaway? Just like you train muscles at the gym, you can train your brain to think more creatively when facing challenges. Chapter 2. The secret power of constraints. Most people think limitations kill creativity, but it's the opposite. Constraints, whether they're tight deadlines, limited budgets, or resource restrictions, actually force us to think outside the box. In fact, some of the most famous inventions happened because of constraints. Take the Post-it note, for example. It was created because a 3M scientist was working with a weak adhesive that didn't stick well. Instead of tossing the failed product, they realized it could be perfect for bookmarks and notes. Now it's a household staple. A survey from Adobe found that 70% of creative professionals believe that constraints actually improve their creativity. The reason is simple. When your options are limited, your brain works harder to find unexpected solutions. It's like being told to build a house with just a hammer and a saw. You wouldn't throw up your hands and quit, you'd find a way to make it work. This also ties into a well-known psychological concept called jugaad, which is a Hindi term that means finding low-cost, innovative solutions despite scarce resources. It's a way of thinking that encourages creative problem-solving when things don't go as planned. So, instead of seeing limitations as a roadblock, start seeing them as a creative challenge. Chapter 3. Reframing problems. The hidden doorway. Sometimes, the key to solving a problem is simply changing how you look at it. This is called reframing, and it's one of the most powerful tools for creative problem solving. The concept comes from psychology and is widely used in cognitive behavioral therapy, where patients are encouraged to see their problems from a new angle. But reframing isn't just for therapy, it's also a great tool for everyday challenges. A famous example of reframing comes from a group of engineers at NASA. They were stuck trying to figure out how to build a space pen that would work in zero gravity. After spending thousands of dollars and lots of time on the project, someone finally asked, "Why are we trying to use a pen? Why not use a pencil?" That simple reframing of the problem saved NASA tons of resources and led to a simple solution. You can try this strategy by asking yourself questions like, what if the opposite were true? Or, what's the real problem here? These kinds of questions force you to step back and see the issue from a fresh perspective. A study from the Harvard Business Review showed that people who regularly reframe their challenges are 30% more likely to find effective solutions. Mind mapping is another way to trigger this creative shift in perspective. Tony Buzan, who popularized the concept, said it allows you to see relationships and connections that would otherwise be hidden. By branching ideas off a central concept, you can see new connections and opportunities that weren't obvious at first. Lastly, reframing is also about turning problems into opportunities. When Airbnb first started, they struggled to get users. Instead of giving up, the founders reframed the problem. They asked themselves how they could leverage the growing trend of sharing resources. That mindset shift helped them see the potential in what they were already doing and turned them into a billion-dollar business. If you're enjoying these insights, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon so you won't miss out on more creative strategies and tips. Chapter 4. The Creative Tug of War. Divergent versus convergent thinking. When we talk about creative problem solving, there's a tug of war between two types of thinking: divergent and convergent. Both are essential, but they serve very different purposes. Divergent thinking is where your creativity can really shine. It's the process of brainstorming as many ideas as possible, no matter how wild. Convergent thinking, on the other hand, is about narrowing down those ideas to find the best, most practical solution. Think of it like casting a wide net, divergent, and then pulling in the best catch, convergent. A study from the Journal of Creative Behavior found that successful problem solvers are those who can switch between divergent and convergent thinking effectively. You can't just throw out random ideas forever, you also need to assess them critically. But if you get too focused on narrowing things down too quickly, you can miss out on some truly innovative ideas. The key is balance. For divergent thinking, a great strategy is the 100 ideas method. It's exactly what it sounds like. Come up with 100 different solutions to your problem. At first, the ideas might be typical, but as you push yourself, you'll start coming up with more creative solutions. According to researcher Dr. Keith Sawyer, author of Zigzag, The Surprising Path to Greater Creativity, the real gems tend to come after idea number 50. So, don't stop too soon. Once you've got your ideas, you'll need convergent thinking to narrow things down. This is where tools like the Scamper technique can help. Scamper stands for substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, and reverse. It's a simple checklist you can use to evaluate your ideas from different angles, helping you choose the most creative yet practical solution. Both thinking styles are necessary. Divergent thinking gets the creative juices flowing, while convergent thinking brings structure to the chaos. Many creative breakthroughs, from the design of the iPhone to the invention of Velcro, came from this back and forth between these two modes of thinking. Chapter 5. Steal like a genius, ethically. There's a saying in the creative world: good artists copy, great artists steal. But before you get the wrong idea, this doesn't mean stealing in a bad way. It means borrowing ideas, patterns, and insights from different fields and blending them into something new. Steve Jobs famously said, "Creativity is just connecting things. The trick is knowing how to connect those dots in a way that no one else has." Take the invention of the smartphone, for example. It wasn't created out of thin air. It was a combination of existing technologies, like touchscreens, cameras, and computers, brought together in a new way. This is a perfect example of creative borrowing. You're not copying an idea directly. You're taking elements from different sources and creating something unique. A study by Northwestern University found that individuals who expose themselves to a wide range of topics and ideas are 32% more likely to come up with creative solutions to problems. This is called cognitive diversity. So, the more you read, learn, and experience across different domains, the more creative you'll become. The secret is to pull ideas from unexpected places. One strategy is to look outside your industry for inspiration. This is called cross-pollination. For instance, the creators of Southwest Airlines were inspired by the fast-paced efficiency of NASCAR pit crews. By borrowing ideas from an entirely unrelated field, they found ways to improve their own industry. Another strategy is to keep a swipe file. This is a collection of interesting ideas, quotes, designs, or strategies you come across in your daily life. It's something many writers, designers, and entrepreneurs use to inspire their own work. You never know when an old idea might spark a new solution. Remember, the goal isn't to steal an entire concept, it's to adapt and transform ideas in ways that work for your problem. The more dots you connect, the more creative your problem solving will become. If you found these strategies helpful, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more insights into unleashing your creativity. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our next videos, where we'll explore more tips and techniques to help you become a master problem solver. Thank you for joining us on this journey into creativity.